Captain. Code Omega.
Shields up, red alert. Captain Hamilton on the Falcon. Get her to bring the ship into close order. We need it all launched and ready for orders immediately.
Okay.
Captain, you're going to need to get to your bridge straight away. Launch. Be ready for further orders.
Incoming call, incoming call. Captain, we're being held by the unknown vessel. On screen.
Welcome back to a brand new episode of the Clonestar with me, your host, Mike Overton. I am joined once again by my dear friend, Mr. Show Hurley. Show, how are you doing today?
Good morning, Mike. I see we both have our Sunday morning easy listening voices on this morning.
Absolutely. It's kind of almost, it's kind of almost sensual, isn't it? Welcome. Welcome to the late night talk show that is. It's also a case of trying to keep the noise down just a little bit because I don't want to wake the whole house up.
The exact same as that. Yes, 100%.
Perhaps we should just make this our new format and we should only record at 8 o'clock on a Sunday morning again.
What are we here to discuss today, Mike?
So we are essentially we're talking about something that I've really fallen in love with over the last year, and that is Bridge Command in London. So a year ago, and it is, I can't believe it's a year ago. It's mad. I walked into a dark room in Vauxhall and put on a Starship uniform and took a seat at the console of a bridge of a Starship that doesn't technically exist, and yet for the next 2 hours, it absolutely did. The alarms, the diplomacy, the decisions that shaped the fate of the world, it all felt real. And that's Bridge Command. It's not a play. It's not a game. It's not quite a LARP or live action role play, sorry. It's something kind of a little bit more strange and a little bit more ambitious than any of those labels. Imagine a fully built Starship bridge and set and everything else that goes along with it, a cast of professional actors and a story that reacts in real time to the choices that you and your crew make. That's kind of the core of it. You're not watching the story unfold, you're actually inside of it. You're steering it and you're shaping it. I've been a part of the universe, of its universe now for a year, and through peaceful negotiations and catastrophic firefights and first missions and final acts, and after I think it's nearly 40 sessions now, it's kind of time to take a little step back and ask, what exactly is Bridge Command? What makes it so compelling, and why do people like myself keep going back? So that's what we're going to talk about today. This episode is a long-term review, not just of a single mission, but of the whole experience. We're going to break down the concept. We're going to actually talk about what it's like to step foot onto the bridge, what Bridge Command gets exceptionally well done right first time, and why it matters. And, well, let's kind of strap in and, as they say in the UCN, go beyond. So, a concept. So, Bridge Command, at its core, is an immersive Starship simulator. But that to me doesn't actually scratch the surface. It's a fully realized 2100s immersive experience. It's a ship bridge. It's 2 ship bridges. It's 2 Starship shuttles. It's a crew mess on a much bigger ship. Essentially all built underneath Vauxhall train station, which is great because every single time the train goes overhead, you hear these really deep thuds, which make it seem a bit more alive. And essentially it's where you and up to 13 others can board the crew of one of the 2 ships and essentially be part of that living, breathing science fiction universe. Each person takes their own role, from helm, engineering, science, weapons, comms, command. And those roles aren't just for show. They're the heart of the experience, The helm officer does the helm officer. They are flying the ship. Engineers are routing power, repairing systems, and keeping the whole ship, from tearing itself apart. Science officers are scanning the unknown, figuring out what's safe to approach, what's not. And of course, that person in the command chair is not just barking orders. They're making choices that can mean peace or war. Now, this isn't theatre where you sit and watch a story unfold. The story unfolds around you. And that's because there's the team of actors are playing everybody from starbase officers to aliens to diplomats to hostile forces, and they adapt in real time to what you decide. It's partly a scripted narrative and partly improvised, and let's face it, part chaos. But that's what makes it so compelling. No two missions are the same, even if you happen to play the same mission twice, which I love. One week you might be negotiating tense peace treaty, the next you're chasing a rogue ship through a nebula. Sometimes the stakes are galaxy shifting, and those are pretty nuts, as I've just come back from one of those missions. Sometimes they're deeply personal, and sometimes your choices lead somewhere where, not even the crew saw coming. And here's why this really elevates. Bridge Command isn't just a one-and-done experience. Storylines continue over time. Decisions echo across future missions. Your ship's reputation and personnel record, even the alliances that you forge, they can all shape what comes next. It's a living world you return to, not just for an evening's entertainment, but for a lot of fun. That's the big idea around Bridge Command. It's collaborative storytelling disguised as a Starship mission. It's theatre you play, not watch, and it's built for everyone to evolve as you do. Now, I think let's kind of start at the experience. Now, Sho, you joined me for a mission a few months ago when you were over here in London. And I didn't really give you a choice. I kind of dragged you, didn't I? To you are coming to Bridge Command whether you like it or not.
Mike, I'm pretty sure with the amount of missions you've gone on and the amount of missions you plan to go on, Bridge Command will own your house by the end of the year with how much you're actually...
Quite possibly.
Things like that. Yes, you gave me absolutely no option. But I was very I was intrigued by it from everything you told me. I couldn't work out what it was going to be like. And I think, as you said in your intro there as well, it's really important is that the second, you walk past a completely nondescript door that you don't even realize there's something inside there. And the second you walk in, you're immersed in it immediately. It's kind of like you've stepped away from London completely. You've stepped away from effectively your own reality outside. You've stepped into something totally different. And it starts like that and continues like that the entire time. I was kind of a bit unsure, when I was talking to some of the cast, am I talking to them as a normal person in my real world, or am I talking to them in this future thing? And I didn't want to kind of break that immersive element by kind of saying, hey, what about that local sports team that was playing there on the weekend and things like that? And you kind of throw yourself into it then as well. And because they take it seriously, you take it seriously then as well as a result. I think one of the most important things is because, I went to it. I went with you, I went with Ryan, and I didn't know anybody else, but very quickly between the cast and between all the other people we met there, it is this exceptionally warm and welcome group that you kind of see. Because I wasn't with you for most of it, because you were one place, I was the other. I was chatting to people I'd never met before, and I was never made to feel like I wasn't part of the group, I wasn't part of the unit, and things like that. And that's exactly what you're on. Because again, people might watch this and they might say, "Oh, geez, I've no one to go with." But you don't need anyone to go with. You could literally just go on your own, because everybody is there.
I think I've done, I want to say 12, 13 missions on my own without knowing anybody that's going with. And they're great. I mean, I think once you've done one, there's a core group of people like me and a few others that will go multiple times a month. And even without planning it, we always end up bumping into each other. So even if you've only been once, when you go back for a second time, the chances of you seeing somebody you already know is quite high.
Yeah.
Which again is great. So I don't ever think that there's a worry about going on your own, because everybody that's there, whether that's crew, whether that is, paying guests like yourselves, everyone has that kind of same mindset where we're here to kind of do a mission. We're here to do a job, as it were, and we'll make it work. And everybody is so accepting. And And I think that just makes the experience.
And I think as well, the other part is, I think something strange is that you go onto the bridge and you're given like an assignment on the ship and things like that. And like, by God, you take it seriously. I took on communications, because like in my job, like I've always been a communications person, and I was kind of absolutely, shitting a brick going, oh Christ, what do I do? Do I press this button? Do I press that button? I was trying to type messages. I was getting them wrong. And like, Mike, me and you were friends, but like you were captain of the ship. So like I was calling you captain the whole time. So if I needed to get your attention, like I was doing it. And the thing is then is you might have like 20 things going on at one time. You might have power needing to be rerouted. There's someone in the shuttle. You could be talking to the helm person, and I get a communication. I have to turn around. I'd be roaring at you to get your attention. And it was just absolutely brilliant because like there's so much going on and you have to keep an eye on your station, what else is going on and all that. Like it was 2 hours or something, and like it felt like it was 20 minutes.
Each mission's about an hour and a half.
Jesus, like in fairness, I was gutted when it was over because I was there going like, this only feels like we're scratching the surface here. Like,
yeah, there's a reason why Ryan and I now do 2 missions back to back, because once you've done one, it's just like, could really do that again.
yeah, exactly, yeah. But like even like, but again, like things like the fact that you get a spacesuit and it's an absolutely clean spacesuit. Let me just be very clear on that, just in case anyone thinks they're getting in someone else's sweaty one. No, these are all clean.
The UCN Laundry Corps do a great job.
Exactly, yeah. So you get into this lovely, lovely fitting. It's actually quite comfortable as well, like spacesuit, like, and everything you kind of go through is so professionally handled and so professionally kind of well done too as well. Like there is no stone left unturned on this. Like this is like, you talk about experiences, like you think about laser tag, or if you go to a VR thing and all that kind of thing, but you're kind of in a kind of experience like that. With this, you utterly feel like you're immersed in it because the whole thing feels totally kind of integrated, and that you do feel like you're on a spaceship, which is no fucking easy feat. Like it's a really tricky thing that they do. Like, and again, as you said, like I took part in one storyline, and like there's so many more, and you're there going, Jesus, this is absolutely brilliant.
20, I think as of the moment, there's 26 individual missions, but I would say probably half of them can be. So I tell you what, actually, that train of thought for a second. Let's break down the mission types, and then we can kind of go from there. So there's 4 mission types. You have diplomacy missions, where essentially you are, brokering peace treaties. You are doing that kind of stuff. You have your intrigue missions, which, and I love this word, it's skullduggery is the kind of the best description for it. Gray areas. Should we be doing this? Should we not be doing this? What's the repercussions? It's that kind of mission, going behind enemy lines, all of that. Then you have your exploration mission, which is the closest to Star Trek that I can think of. It would be, there's an asteroid out there. We need to go and scan it and figure out why it's doing X, Y, Z. And then suddenly you're bombarded with pirates. And then you have a military mission, which is exactly what it sounds like. Literally go out and blow shit up. But half of those missions can be played in multiple different categories. So I have played missions where one week I've played that mission and it was an intrigue, but the following week I've played that mission and it's a military mission. So although the kind of underlying story is the same, the way you go about it, the way that you approach it, and the way that you play it is very different because it fits into a different story.
Because again, it's very much like it's if for people of a certain age, it's very much like the old choose your adventure books back in the day, like where you decide. Because like when, like I mentioned about, like if you take part in a VR kind of experience and things like that, it's exceptionally linear because you're always going to get the same thing every single time. But with this, what also makes it different is that, as you said, the mission types will change, but people will be in different positions, and that drives the mission in a different way. Like I was communications officer the first time I was there. When I go back, I won't be communications. I'll do something else. I might do helm. I might do engineering, whatever the case may be. So as a result of that, it gives you a totally different, unique perspective, and the mission then will change as a result of it too.
Exactly. And I think that's just one of the things that it's so well thought out in that respect, that it doesn't, every choice that's made will have an impact. So those are your mission types. Let's go through the process. So you arrive at London base, you walk through the nondescript doors into the cloakroom. It's kind of the easiest way to describe it. You had your bag and your jacket over, and you put your flight suit on. You'll be given your rank patches and your ship patches. So you'll get a nice big back patch. You get a smaller version that goes on your breast. Then you get your ranks, and everything is tracked. So everything that you do is recorded. So you always progress. So for myself, I am a lieutenant. Ryan is a lieutenant. We both have medals. So when we get there, we get our patches, we get our medals, we put them back on again. So every time we're there, we always keep our rank, and we always keep any accolades that we've got. Once we've donned our flight suits and put everything on, we get teleported 21 light years away to the Adamus belt aboard the UCS Warspite. The teleporter is a cool bit of kit. Just purely from a set perspective, it's just such a cool bit of kit. You know, you walk up the ramp into the teleporter, and then you spend 90 seconds being transported from one universe to another. Because I think at that point, that's where it's extremely obvious that the real world kind of falls behind. Because that's it. There's no more signs of outside. You're completely windowless. Well, how did you find the teleporter?
I was interested how they'd kind of do it and things like that. Like, again, I don't want to kind of ruin it for people, because it's one of those things that you want to kind of experience. It was very unique and it was very effective. Is the kind of only thing I would say.
They now have pads on the floor that you have to stand on.
Yeah. Like, again,
because before it was just a big open space, but now they've actually put pads on the floor that you have to stand.
Again, like there's certain things you definitely don't want to spoil for people, and that's one of them. Like in terms of how it works. Like again, you'll be.
I wasn't going to explain how it works. I just thought, how did you find the experience of being in the
very good, very impressive.
Did you keep all your fingers? Yeah. Occasionally, you might lose a finger, but it's fine. So once you've beamed on, you're beamed aboard the Warspite crew mess. Best place to grab a drink and use the loo if you need to use the loo. And essentially, that's it. You kind of congregate in the mess until your ship's crew is called. When your ship's crew is called, you go into the briefing room, where you then sit down, you watch the delightful speech from the UCN president, Adebayo.
But there's elections on at the moment, am I right?
There are elections. That's a whole headache, because the grey hats ended up hacking the elections, so we've had to go back to paper. So when I was there on Tuesday, I actually managed to cast my ballot, because all the elections are now rigged.
No mail-in ballots.
Headache.
No mail-in ballots.
Yes, exactly. So you listen to this wonderful speech by President Adebayo, which, if you like me and have done it 40 times, you now know it off by heart. And there are a few of us that will recite it word for word whilst it's being played, because we are those kinds of people, or at least mime it, mouth it whilst we're there. And then that's where you get all the details for your mission. So it's at that point that your captain is selected, and it is at that point that the what it is that you've actually got to go and do is discussed and pointed out, and you know what region of space you're going to be in and what you might come across. You then board your ship, and that can be one of two ships. You have the UCS Takanami, which is a destroyer. She's a big girl, a bit like a garbage scow in space, because she moves like a big ship. And then you have the UCS Havoc, which is a frigate, which is a lot smaller and much more nimble, and my personal favorite ship, just because I think the bridge layout is slightly better. But that's that. You're then essentially guided through all of the systems. So your training officer, who boards with you, goes through every ship system, how they all work, what you need to do. Then you're put onto the bridge, and then that is at what point you choose your station. Sometimes it's voluntary, but sometimes you might have to be voluntold what station you have or you're going to be on, because I have seen it many times before where they go, right, who wants to do weapons? And everyone just stands there looking at each other. So you have to kind of be voluntold occasionally. But it's a lot of it, and I think that's where the magic happens, because a lot of the time, if you happen to do a mission, you will be there with people who've never done it before.
Yep.
And I think this is something that the team at British Command absolutely nail every time. Is you spend probably the first 20 minutes of your time on the bridge actually going through training.
Yeah.
So you are trained on how to use your station, but also you listen to what's going on. So you're trained on everybody's station. And there are some stations that are more complex than others. Dock and drone, for example, you kind of need to listen to what weapons, to what helm, and what navigation are doing, because that one station needs those 3 elements to run. But once that's done, once everybody has had their training, you then do a test firefight mission. So take out the drones as quickly and as efficiently as possible. And then you go off, you throw your training officer back aboard the Warspite, and then you go off and do your mission. And it's at that point you're on your own. And it's, you are there to play the story out and follow the orders of whoever's in charge. That's all I'm going to say on that, because I don't want to go into mission specifics, because I don't want to ruin it for anybody. But at that point, you spend a good hour and 10 minutes or so completing your mission, and you can come across everything that you could possibly imagine. And there are some weird things in the Adamus Belt. Let's put it like that.
Yeah, it's very again, like I think one of the things that kind of adds to it is that I remember there was one part in one of our missions where a member of the cast had to come aboard our ship and give an update and things like that. And I loved about the fact that I was on communications and you brought him into the briefing room, and it was just there was noise everywhere and all that, and you're there going, "Geez, what's going on?" And again, it's something small like that makes a big kind of again makes a big impact, because everything plays into a bigger story. So there's no point you can just shut off, because you're constantly you don't know what's going to happen next, because one thing is going to affect another, it's going to affect another. So you're paying attention to what's going on, and it's interesting. You'd often look at, say, Star Trek, whatever, and you see people on the bridge, and you're going, "Geez, they must get bored." And then when you sit inside in Bridge Command for any time, you're there going, "There's no way you get bored," because you're constantly watching what's happening, listen to what other people are saying, and then out of nowhere, you'll be pulled into this kind of story as well. And that's the important thing, is that every single person there has a part to play, because there is something that's going to affect the station that you're on, that you're going to have to be involved in as a result as well. So again, you're not spending money to sit there. You're 100% completely involved and engaged. And again, where I was sitting, I had one person either side of me, and again, never met them before, and I wasn't going to be talking to you for the whole thing, because you were in the captain's chair and I was off on the side of communications, and I was just chatting to them the whole time, and it was absolutely great. And once or twice there was stuff I didn't know what to do, and they just came over and gave me a hand with it. And again, it's that welcoming, warm, friendly kind of environment.
I'm trying to remember who was on that mission with us. I think Ward was on the mission with us.
But it's when you have things like that, at the start, it's you might be kind of, who are these people and all that, and then you do the mission and it's great. And when the mission's over and you go back outside and you have a drink, and everyone just sat down together, and I was there going, isn't this just so cool? Because me, you, and Ryan sat down together, and then everyone else in the crew just sat down together, and we were all just chatting away as if we knew each other.
All chatting away. And the other thing I think that one of the things I really love is as you said earlier, is the attention to detail. Every single Warspite crew member has a backstory. I was chatting away to Lieutenant Commander Dent the other week, who was, I should say, because she's actually just been reassigned. Again, storytelling. But she was trying to get to Arcadia for some R&R. But every time I've seen her R&R has been cancelled because of X, Y, and Z has happened. So every time I see her, I ask the same questions. Did you get to Arcadia this time? No. Oh, okay. And then there's a whole story about why she couldn't get to Arcadia. I could be chatting to, Dingers or Lieutenant Bell, about what's going on with Pirate Council, what's the latest with that, and there's always something going on. So even when you're not there, the whole universe is still moving behind it. The news is playing in the background, so you can see what the latest is. As you said earlier, there's elections currently going on for a new UCM president, which I believe the results are. I think the results have already been drawn, but I need to check.
It's like what you're saying. The person I spoke to the most was Callie, and every time I spoke to Callie, I was there going, am I speaking to Callie in the real world, or am I speaking to Callie in the context of the universe? And I felt I felt awkward about it, but I respected Callie's kind of dedication to kind of the immersion element to it as well. So I tried to keep it in universe kind of chat then as a result. So it's small things like that.
But there's some really interesting things. If you happen to go, oh, did you catch this latest episode of EastEnders? For example, they would turn around and says, EastEnders, that's like an ancient Earth TV show. They always find a way of pulling that conversation back into the universe. 2180s. You know, we were talking about music the other week, and it's just like, yeah, it's an ancient Earth song called X, whatever it was, you know, and they always find a way of kind of bringing it back, which I just really love. And it's, yeah, as I said, it's become a real kind of passion of mine over the past year with 40 odd missions. It works out nearly one a week, which is madness.
And then the thing is, like when we were finishing up the night I was there, and like it was time to go and things like that, I genuinely was so disappointed because I was there going, I want to come back. I'd love to do this again. Like literally, I'd be here next week. And it's like I'm looking forward to come back over again at some point and doing it because of how bloody enjoyable it actually is. Like I saw like David Baddiel and Jonathan Ross went to it as well. Like, and like I think they're going like, this is absolutely glorious stuff. Like, and again, it didn't look like they went with a massive group. It looks like they went on their own, and that's the whole.
No, it's just the two of them.
And that's the thing. If you want to go in a small group, you don't need to have like 16 people. You can just go as one. You can go as two. You just go as a small group because again, everyone is so welcoming. They're so nice. And again, you feel a camaraderie between them, especially at the end. And as I said, when I was saying goodbye, I genuinely felt sad because I would love to have just gone back the following week.
Yeah. And I think the thing here is that the idea of Bridge Command can be replicated. Mm-hmm. You know, people can create ship simulators, they can create sets. But I think what really sets it apart is the team. Mm-hmm. Whether that is from the top with, you know, Owen, aka Captain Taylor, who is the head of the Warspite Task Group, you know, all the way down to the new sub-lieutenant who's on the bar, everybody is extremely passionate about this. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what makes Bridge Command, is the team. Because, you know, I mean, you know, everyone has a different personality, and the best way I can describe this is Captain Athena Hamilton of the UCS Falchion is a very stern character, doesn't take shit from anybody, and is very much absolutely 100% by the book. When she walks into a room, the room goes silent, and everyone salutes the captain. Yet when Captain Taylor walks in, everyone's still having a laugh and a joke and having a chat and everything else. So, you know, the sheer work that the team have put in to build their backstories, to evolve their characters, and also to be 100% in character. I mean, I've tried many times to get people to break character, and it just doesn't happen. It's the team at Bridge Command that make it. So, yes, there might be, you know, copycats coming about, and there are a couple that are coming about in different parts of the world. They won't be the same because it's the team that makes it. And I have to stress that enough, that it's the team at Bridge Command that are phenomenal. They are absolutely phenomenal, and they are what make it.
No, 100%. And that's it. It's complete dedication to making sure that everyone who comes in the door is kind of brought into something that's going to be a very, very unique experience. And that takes a hell of a lot of effort as well. Like, because again, you know, if you work in an office job and things like that, you can shut off for a bit of time. If you're having a bad day, you can just be silent, just be quiet, whatever it is. Like, these people have to be on the whole time. And like, that is not an easy thing. Yeah. Like, if anyone's working in call centers like me, you like, the hardest part is that you have to be positive, upbeat the whole time. And that's exactly what these people need to do. And that is not an easy task. And like, you're there to entertain people, you're there to create a warm, welcoming environment and things like that, and they do it exceptionally well. Like, I don't think, Mike, between myself and yourself, I don't think we can recommend this highly enough. Like, it is something that we can say all these fancy words about it and explain all that kind of thing, but when you go to it, when you experience it, it is far beyond anything that we, like, even when you try to explain it to me so many times, I still didn't really have a full grasp of it until I was actually there and I did it. And then I was there going, this is absolutely fantastic. This is something that if you are in the area, if you can go, you must go. It's not a question of like, should I, shouldn't I? You do. You go and you won't. You'll never regret the experience.
I mean, take Ryan, for example. Ryan is not, my partner is not a sci-fi fan in the slightest, but he loves it just as much as I do. Yeah. And I think it's because, you know, for me, I had this conversation with someone the other day. For me, let's face it, the world as it sits right now is not a happy place. And to be able to go somewhere a couple of times a month to completely switch, and I mean completely switch off from the outside world and essentially play make-believe for a couple of hours in a society that's trying to do better and to go and blow things up or arrest pirates or solve a mystery, actually, I think is certainly great for my mental health. I think everybody should have some kind of outlet like this to go to, because it does just let you completely switch off. And and I agree with you what you said earlier. When it's done, it's a little bit sad because you have to go back out into the real world. And
but it's the combination of not just the cast, but all the other people you're there with as well. Everybody is there with the right intention in mind, and the atmosphere, the environment is incredibly welcoming, open, and supportive. There's no nonsense inside there. It is there to have an experience, have fun, enjoy yourself, and want you to come back. Like with anything like this, with any form of experience, the whole game, the whole purpose of it is basically to leave you in a situation where you want to come back and know that it's not going to be the same thing you're going to be treated to, which it isn't. As you said, like the building structure is the same, all that is the same, but the missions are going to be different. The people are going to be different. The scenario is going to be different. And that's exactly what you want. That is why Bridge Command ridiculously excels and succeeds at what it does, because it creates that so bloody well.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think what this really means is that Bridge Command, it's not just a sort of a clever night out. Mm-hmm. It's part of something bigger. It shows what happens when theatre, gaming, storytelling stop being separate things and work together. Yeah. We're used to thinking of like entertainment as something that we consume. We sit in the cinema seat, or we pick up a games controller, or we buy a ticket for a play, and the story is sort of handed to us. This flips it and says, no, the story isn't finished until you walk into the room and make the choices inside of it. And I think that shift from passive audience to active participation is huge. And it points where immersive storytelling is heading. It also reminds us that people don't just want a spectacle. They want agency. They want to feel like what they do matters. Yeah. And Bridge Command taps into that instinct beautifully. And it gives you a stage where decisions have weight, where relationships evolve, and where where the story remembers who you are. And I think that's really powerful, and something that traditional theatre and film can't quite get. A great example of this is I'm currently on a 5-mission campaign with a crew, and it happened to be that a relationship that I had made 6 months ago at a special event actually paid off, and I would not have as easily been able to complete my mission if I didn't have that relationship. So it's all of those things feed back into it. And also, I think there's something quite meaningful about the collaborative side of it. You can't just succeed on your own. You need your crew. You need to be able to trust people that you've never met, communicate under pressure, negotiate, compromise, improvise. Yes, it's entertainment for sure, but I also think that it's a fascinating exercise in teamwork and shared storytelling. And I think that's why it sticks, because, you spent a night holding a ship together with, 10 strangers. Those memories feel different from kind of anything scripted or solo. Mm-hmm. They kind of feel earned, and I think that's the difference. You feel like you've earned it. When you get your promotion, you feel like you've earned it. When you get a commendation, you feel like you've earned it. And I think that's why Bridge Command matters. It's not just sort of pretending to be in space. It's about exploring what storytelling can become when you stop being passengers and start being the crew. Yeah. And I actually think that's what really makes it special.
No, 100%. You're absolutely right. I don't think there's kind of like more that we can say about it, because like it just is. No. It is something you need to go to. It really is.
Absolutely.
It's a memory that you won't forget. It's something that you'll do. And
next time you're in London, you're coming again, and we'll do more than one mission. If you're here for 5 nights, we'll go 5 nights in a row.
Mike, I'm not handing over the mortgage to my house to Bridge Command like you were going to be doing very soon, things like that. But again, if anyone's watching this, listening to this and things like that, like again, the whole thing is like, go to it. It is not something to kind of be daunted by or kind of even question. It is something to go experience. You won't forget it, and you would 100% recommend other people to go, and you yourself would 100% go back.
Yeah, I mean, I'm literally going back on Friday because I've flown with this person once before. They put a message out in the Bridge Command Discord saying, I'm bringing a friend and there's not enough crew to make the mission viable. Anybody around? I went, yeah, I'll jump on that. So I'm doing a mission with a bunch of strangers on Friday that I've never met, because they're bringing their friends down to introduce them to it. And it's just like, why wouldn't I?
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm overdue to go anyway. So look, I think to wrap it up then, After a year in the Adamus Belt aboard the the Warspite Task Group, Bridge Command is more than just an experience. It's a living story you step in and you help write. It's space where theatre, game design, and improvisation collide to create something that feels, I think, genuinely new. And if you let yourself lean into it, it can be thrilling, challenging, and oddly moving. I did a mission recently where Warspite task members died. And I actually felt almost tearful that people that I'd, got to know and that are no longer around. And I know it's a story, but it hits. It's not a kind of thing you do once and tick off a list. It's something that rewards return visits. Deeper involvement and long-term curiosity, the more you show up, the richer it gets. Characters evolve, relationships form, choices come back to haunt you, which they have done, or reward you. It's a world that remembers you, and I think that's something that's rare. Who is it for? Anybody who loves storytelling, science fiction, or the thrill of making decisions that matter. Anybody who wants to do more than just watch a story unfold, who wants to live inside one. If you're looking for a night of passive entertainment, then this is not for you. But if you're up for stepping into the unknown, seeing where your actions take you, then Bridge Command is unlike anything else. And above else, the people behind it, the staff, the performers, the creative team are the soul of the experience. They don't just run the show, they are the show. They're the reason the world feels alive, the reason the story keeps evolving, and the reason why, so many of us keep coming back. A year on, I keep returning for one simple reason. No matter how many missions I've flown, there's always another story out there on the horizon, and I think that says everything about why Bridge Command works. Because like the universe it imagines, it's still expanding. Thank you for listening to us ramble on about my latest passion, which is Bridge Command. You can catch up with more of us here at the Clonestar Podcast at our website, clonestarpodcast.com, or on this YouTube channel. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button, as well as that bell icon to get notified when we next upload. There's some really cool stuff coming out. We've just posted a review out with Spencer Garrett. And there's so many other incredible interviews and reviews and that on this channel that if you haven't seen, make sure you check out. I'm going to steal the slogan from Bridge Command here, but as they say in the UCN, go beyond.